So I'll just go through one question on exercise 12, which everybody got wrong. That's question 10, which is they learned the news about the Sultan's letters. So here, as indicated by the recording is okay. So if you look at the brackets, it says "lit," which means literally means reach them. So when you have in this book, when you have something like that in brackets, we have literally. When you use this, because what its author is saying is that if you was to translate from English into Arabic, literally, you would translate using reach them, not they learned, reach them, because what he rephrased reach them. He rephrased reach them into they learned. So really, if you want to translate, you treat it as if it's reach them. So if you translate, if you treat it like that, it becomes reached them the news about the Sultan's letters. And you can see why he rephrased it, because it doesn't sound very good. That's why he's done it. So reach them. So the way it works is, so like I said before, there's two ways you could approach this question. The first one is, what's the verb? Verb is reaching. Yes, the verb is reaching. What is reaching? The news is reaching. What is reaching? The news is reaching. So news becomes the subject of balaghat. And what are you reaching to? Reaching to them. So them becomes the object. Also, if you look at balaghatum, another way of looking at it, and you will learn about this more. Balaghathum is made up of balaghat, the verb, which is feminine singular, plus attached pronoun. This is called attached pronoun. Balaghathum. And it becomes humu because you want to join it to the next word. So it becomes balaghathum. This is called attached pronoun. So whenever an attached pronoun like whom, another one is who, because normally, how do you say he? We say huwa, right? Huwa. He, third person singular. But if you look at attached pronoun for first person singular, it's who. So that means he, means who means whom, who means him. So for example, if you say balaghat who, it means reached him. I'm just giving an example. There's another example. Balaghat who would mean reached him. So this becomes balaghat whom, and it becomes balaghatu, balaghtuhu, balaghtuhu. And the rule is the attached pronoun, whenever it comes with a verb, attached pronoun, whenever it comes with a verb, is always the object. It cannot be the subject. And you learn that when we do the attached pronouns anyway. We haven't done the attached pronouns, but that's the rule. So whenever you have another pronoun attached with a verb, because it doesn't say balaghu. Balaghu means they reached. It says balaghat hum. So there's two separate things. So the one is reaching, and the other one is them. It's not reaching. It doesn't say they are reaching. It doesn't say balaghu. There's a difference between balaghu. There's a difference between this and balaghathum. Yes. So here, what's the subject? They is the subject, because the verb is hidden within that. However, here there's no there's balaghat is a verb, and whom is what we call attached pronoun. So attached pronoun is always object. Does that make sense to anyone? Everybody?
Yeah, but normally object in the sentence should be accusative. So in
Yes.
this case, it will be exceptions.
Yeah. So basically, you could say it's accusative in terms of state, but with attached pronouns, like with pronouns, they don't change. They don't take dhamma, kasra, change. They don't change. They don't decline. So they don't become balagat hum, balagat him, balagat hum, like that. So they remain the same. So that's you could say you could say you could say you could say that that's an exception if you want, because the attached pronoun, they don't change in their harakas. They always remain the same. Yes.
In case of she, it should be balagati hiya.
No, it will be balagat ha, balagat ha, and we're gonna cover that anyway in a couple of chapters. So because see, there's difference between the normal pronouns, like when they stand separately, like huwa, huma, hum, hiya, huma, hunna, and there's a difference between that and what we call the attached pronouns. Attached pronouns basically means they are attached to another noun or another verb. So balagat ha, so ha, it means her. Balagat, balagat ha would mean reached her. So it'll be balagat nahiya. So it's balagat ha, reached her. So it could be balagat ha al akhbaru, for example. Yes,
So
anybody?
yeah, if we say balagat na, that means they lady female. Balagat na. So
Balagat na, again, we haven't covered this yet, but what does na mean?
uh, uh, they,
No,
feminine.
oh, them. No.
Them, feminine.
No, it would be that.
It's plural form.
So what are you saying? It would be balagat hunna. But don't worry about this, because I'm going to cover this. I'm just mentioning this because some of it came about in the exercise question 10. But the two you need to know is the reach them, balagat was the verb, whom is the attached pronoun, means them, masculine plural. And who, the reason why I mentioned who is because it's going to be mentioned later in the chapter. So balagat who means him. So that's a attached pronoun. So if you say balagat who, it means reached him. So balagat who al-akhbaru. Al-akhbaru means the news reached him. So him is the object. So when the attached pronouns come with a verb, that's a key. They're always the object. And well, yeah. So I think the rest of the questions, I looked at them. I think you guys could potentially do them yourself. There's not. Yeah, I think these are some people have done all of them. Some people done the first 10 because that was just the homework. So those people who just done the homework. Yeah, I think I probably said yes homework because I think you guys could do them. And one thing I wanted to emphasize was if you have advice regarding the preparation for the class. The way it works is the way it normally works is what they say is that the 25% of the work takes place in the class and 75% takes place outside the class. So the way it works is, like, for example, when I prepare for my lessons, when I study with teachers, and that's through, I do, like, I'm doing a book in fiqh, for example, or aqidah or something like that. the way it works is the first thing that takes place is preparation before the lesson. So what I do is when I know I'm going to be reading this chapter, before the lesson, I read through the chapter. Because don't forget, when you start reading Arabic books, for example, inshallah, you're not going to have a vocabulary list. Sometimes if you find a difficult word, because obviously there's thousands of words in Arabic, so you learning the most common words here, but there'll be other words you don't know. So the way it works is when you study with a teacher, he expects you to go and look up those words. He's expect you to know the meaning of what you're reading already. He's just going to give you additional explanation. So that's when you study Islamic sciences. So for example, me, when I go and study, when I have a lesson with teachers, I normally have a dictionary as well. I read the Arabic book and show that, okay, I understand what it means generally, have a good understanding. And then when the teacher explains, if I had any questions beforehand, I'm more switched on. So when he says, when he explains something which I didn't understand correctly before, it just clicks. It clicks. I understand you a lot better. And I realized that if for some reason I'm unable to prepare for the lesson, that lesson I find it 10 times harder. Like I really struggle in those lessons. It's purely because one is, if I go prepared, I find it easy. I'll cover a lot more, and I'm more confident. If I don't prepare, then I struggle a bit, and this applies to this lesson as well. So if because we know each week we are covering a new chapter pretty much. So if you are reading ahead and reading it maybe a couple of times, 3 times, then when you come into the lesson, you will see the fruits of it, because you will find you'll be amazed. Like, just try it. Like, don't just take my words for it. Just try for at least a couple of weeks, and you'll notice a difference. Because when you come into it, you'll be switched on already, because you will know the 80% of the stuff already. It'll just be the 20% of stuff which you didn't understand. And when I explain it, and it'll be like a light bulb lighting up. You think, oh, I see. That's how it is. And then you'll be able to ask good questions as well. So you'll be able to understand a lot more and take out a lot more in terms of getting benefit from the lesson. That's number one. And number two is in terms of homework. And alhamdulillah, I've seen improvement in terms of homework. People are getting more and more questions right, and there's less and less mistakes. One thing which I personally learned as a professional accountant, which I think you guys could benefit from, is the fact that when I first started working, I volunteered for free to work for an accounting firm to gain experience. I remember my first day, I done an assignment. I done some work. I done some. I don't know. I think I done VAT. I'm not sure if you guys understand what VAT is. Like, it's basically like a form of tax applied to various different things. So I've done that, and then the guy who owned the accountancy firm, he came to me and he said, and he pointed out my mistakes, and then he said to me, when you was studying at university or even college, it was okay to make mistakes, because when you make mistakes, if you get 80% of the questions, 80% of the work right, and working's right, and the final answer is incorrect, it's okay, because it means you got very good marks. You'll pass and you get very good marks. But he goes, in accountancy, like especially in my profession, he goes, you're doing the actual figures for people, and you're going to be sending these to tax authorities and so forth. So you can't afford to make a mistake, because if you make a mistake, you are stating something which is inaccurate and incorrect. So from there, what I learned was, because, for example, if you processing hundreds of accounts, and if in one account you add additional zero, it makes a difference between £50,000 profit to £500,000 profit, and that's a big discrepancy. Anyways, what I learned from my job was that the way I try to avoid mistakes is the fact that once I've done the work, and this is not just me, it's just other accountants do that as well, we check our work. So when we done the work, we just go through the work, because obviously, it's high stakes. we can't afford to make mistakes. So we normally check our work, and we normally, like in my experience, there's always a couple of mistakes, 2-3 mistakes, which I could spot, which are normally correct before it goes out to the director or somebody senior. And what happens is here it's okay to make mistakes. So it's not as obviously Arabic is not as it's not as important to get everything right, because I'm here for a reason. I'm here to point out the mistakes and help you and stuff like that. But at the same time, there are benefits of getting things right, getting more things right, because I'd rather be correcting stuff which you got it wrong genuinely, not because maybe you've kind of, sometimes brain is intuitive, so it just you think that's the answer, but that's the wrong answer. But if you've checked your work once, you would have spotted the mistake, but because you didn't check, you didn't spot the mistake. Because what happens is there's few things, because my lessons are based on how well people understand Arabic. So if your homework, if people are making more mistakes than they should, then I'm going to think, okay, this lesson, okay, maybe I didn't explain it properly, maybe I was going too fast, maybe I need to repeat the lesson. And obviously you guys don't want to do that, because if you understand the lesson, you rather not me repeat the lesson. So you rather get the kind of give me like a real picture of how well you understand. And secondly, I think it gives you, in terms of your own ability, it gives you confidence as well, because you gaining these skills to be able to use it outside of here, whether you want to understand the Quran or whether you want to speak Arabic, you want to be able to use these skills you take from here outside. And obviously there'll be no teachers, so you need confidence. So if you get more and more questions right, it'll build your confidence. And it also saves you from getting into habits of making mistakes. So again, I'm totally happy if you make tons of mistakes. I'm happy with that. But what I do want from you guys is for you guys to give your best. So when you come to the class, you're benefiting 100%, because we've done 8 chapters now, and I'm looking at chapter 33, for example, which is like we've done 1 quarter. That chapter, when he gives you the Arabic, there's no fatha, qasra, dhamma. It's an abstract from a 12th century book from Ibn Battuta. It's totally Arabic without vowels, and that will be the homework. You know what I mean? So you've done a lot. So that's like, there's like another 3 quarters of the book before we get to that stage. But you will get to the stage where you start reading stuff without the harakas, without fatha, dhamma, kasra, and you'll build the ability. And obviously, the more effort you put in now, the easier it will be for you then. So I think it's quite important. That's why I've singled it out. So if you just take that on board, I think it'll be beneficial for everybody, inshallah. Now moving on to what we're doing now is we've done Idafa before. This chapter 8 is building on that. So this is Idafa for duals and plurals. Okay. So one thing I wanted to say was, if you look at when the sign masculine plural or dual, when sign masculine plural or dual is mudaf ilayhi, it behaves like normal. So I just want to find an example to show you. Okay, so it's not. So for example, if you say, for example, what's the example? Okay. So if you want to say, for example, the houses of teachers, what would you say? Buyutul Muallimina, right? It means houses of the teachers. So, what happens is just al-muallimina is genitive. It's sound masculine plural, and it just takes the genitive form, which is ina. right? Bayutul Muallimina. So here Muallimina is what we call mudaf ilayhi, right? However, or for example, if you say so house of the two men, so you can say baytu what is it? How do you say houses of the two men? The house of the two men?
Baitul Muallimani.
No, of the two men. Rajulun is man.
Ah, two men.
Rajulani.
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 Is he Rajulani? What case is Rajulani?
Aini. It will be Rajulaini.
Yes, what case is Rajulani? That's my question.
That is nominative case.
Yes. Why? So what?
Rajulini.
Yes, Rajulaini. Yes. Rajulaini, right? So again, it's Aini here. So it means in dual, right? So dual and sign masculine plural, when they are mudaf ilayhi, then they behave like normal, right? They just become accusative, genitive, according to the position in the sentence. So sorry, when they idafa, the mudaf ilayhi, they just become genitive. So they become ina in plural, muallimina, for example, bayutul muallimina, or becomes aini, so bayutul rajulaini, the house of two men. Now, what happens when they're not mudaf ilayhi, they're mudaf? So which means, for example, if you want to say, for example, if you want to say the two houses of the man, for example, so how do you say two houses? Normally you say baytani, baytani, or raju. So normally we think it'd be something like that because because the first part is it says two houses of the man. So we'd expect baytani to be nominative, right? Because there's nothing to make it genitive. There's no half job before it, and in some mudaf ilayhi it's mudaf, right? So here we're making the dual mudaf, right? It's the dual, which is mudaf. So you think it'll be something like this, but if you look at this, when we're looking at singular or broken plurals, what's the rule for mudaf when it's singular or broken plural? What's the rule? You can't take what? Farhana, do you know? So
Yes,
if you want
sir.
to, so if you want to say the house of the two men, use of the man, you say baytur rajuli, right? So what's the
Yes.
rule? You can't take alif lam and you can't take tanween, right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
So when that's mudaf, and when mudaf is dual or sign masculine plural, the rule is that you can't still take alif lam, but tanween, it doesn't have tanween anyway, right? So we can't say it can't take tanween, but rather it can't take noon. So it drops, instead of dropping tanween, equivalent of tanween here is, you could say, is the noon. So the noon drops. So noon drops. So it becomes baytar rajuli. Does that make sense? Does that make sense, people? If you don't, it doesn't make sense, tell me, I'll explain it.
The physical noon will be dropped.
Yes, so basic is the mudaf. In sign masculine plural and in dual, the noon will drop. That's all it is.
Then it would be little difficult to know it is singular or dual. Baitani, the Baitani is making it dual, so that
Yeah.
Baitur Rajuli.
No, you still okay. You still know because here, if you
The
look at
alif and
the
the
alif,
end will drop.
yeah, alif is still there. Only the noon drops. Do you understand that, Burhan?
Yeah, for Bait, the alif will not be there. Baitur Rajuli.
Yes, for singular alif will be not there. For dual alif will be there.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so here are some examples. Sorry, go on.
And sir, if it is the bait is if plural like biyutur rajuli, it will be normal.
Yes, because that's yes, it will be. Why would it be normal? Do you think?
Because it's not a son masculine plural and it's not dual.
Yes, because yeah, can make sense. So here it gives example baitar rajuli. So it was baitani rajuli becomes baitar rajuli. Noon drops. Similarly, here baitani Muhammadin becomes baita Muhammadin. Okay. So how do you say two doors?
Babani.
Babani. So when it's mudaf, it becomes baba. Noon drops again. Baba, two doors. And if you want to say two doors of two houses, how do you say?
Babani baitaini. So noon will be dropped. So Baba baiti.
Yeah.
Baitai.
No. Shariza, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So here we want to say that the two doors of the two houses of the man. So here there's two dafas. So first, Baba is a mudaf. Mudaf is a possession. Baiti is mudaf ilayhi, but at the same time, Baiti is mudaf as well, because then Rajul becomes the second mudaf ilayhi. Right? So tell me, Bait, here says Baitai. What was he originally? Shariza, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me what you think this was before it became Baitai? What was it? Because we say
My
the
house.
sorry?
Baitai mean my house.
No.
Baitaini.
Yeah, sorry.
I want the two house.
Let Shariza answer, please. What was it before?
Are you asking sir about the two houses, sir?
If you want to say two houses, the two doors of the two houses, how would you say that?
Baitaini, sir. Babani Baitaini.
So okay, so you say Baba Baitaini.
Yeah.
Two doors of the two houses.
Yes.
But if you want to say the two doors of the two houses of the man, then what happens? Because here Baitaini.
They have dropped the no.
Yes. So it becomes Baba Baitai. So it becomes Baba Bay Tai Arajuli. And what happens is, and what type of alif is this? What type of Hamza is this? It's called Hamza to Wasal.
Yes.
It means if there's a word before it, then the word before the letter before it, then that must join directly onto the lam, not the alif. So we just add a kasra here. Baita yir rajuli. Why? Because it needs to join directly onto ra, because there's no haraka on alif. So it becomes baita yir rajuli. So the kasra here is for conventional purposes. Does everybody understand that? Do you understand that, Nilofer?
No, sir.
Sorry?
Why ya is added? Beta is two houses. No, then why ya?
No, beta is two houses when it's nominative.
Mm.
And because, okay, when you say,
Genitive, for genitive you added ya
yeah. So
to
look,
make it
look, okay, look. Baitani means two houses, yes?
Mm.
Baitani means two houses. What form, what case is this?
Genitive.
Is it genitive or is it nominative? It's nominative. We are ani when it's nominative, it means two houses. This is nominative case.
Yes, nominative. Yes.
And what's the genitive?
Tani. Betani.
Yeah, baitani, yes. So when you have it, this becomes mudaf. We say we're gonna drop noon.
We did drop noon.
Yes, so it becomes in nominative case it becomes beta because we just delete the noon, and in genitive and accusative it becomes the noon drops again, but it was baitani, right? Baitani, so the ya remains, only the noon drops, it becomes baitai.
Okay, yeah remains.
Baitai
Okay, yes,
becomes
I got
baitai.
it.
Yes?
Yes, okay. Yeah.
And the only reason
Thank
why we add kasra to ya is because it knows it needs to join directly onto ra here. Because
Coming later.
yes,
Yes.
that's why.
Okay.
Otherwise, it will be just baitai.
Yes.
You understand the Burhan?
Yes, Alhamdulillah.
Okay, that's good. Burhan, you understand? Sudesh, you understand?
Yes.
Okay. Nazir, you understand? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. So the two daughters of the minister. So what's the word for daughter? One of the words is ibnatun. Ibnatun. Ibnatun means a daughter. The jewel is ibnatani. Ibnatani. So when you want to say two daughters of the minister, the noon drops, it becomes ibnatal waziri. Okay. And the next one is the teachers of the boy. Teachers of the boy. Burhan, are you there?
Yes.
Okay. Explain what was this originally? The muallimu. What was it originally?
Mollimuna.
Yes, so muallimun was there.
Yes.
Why did noon drop? Because
Same.
because it's mudaf.
No.
Possession.
Okay. Position.
Okay. Muallimul waladi.
Waladi.
So it becomes the teachers of the boy.
Waladi. Okay.
Okay. Also here the example is kataba li muallimiyil mudrasati. Today's what was the mualli? What was the word here?
Muallimina.
Okay. Yes, it was kataba li muallimina. So he wrote you